Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to my response to Andrew from Tales from the Crates Vinyl Tag 2021. I absolutely love these things. I did it last year. Unfortunately I started in the VC a little bit late to do the 2019 one, but I watched nearly everybody's, so I thought, right, I'm going to have a go at this today. Nothing else to do, we're in lockdown. There's 1st of January, the most depressing day of the year, so this is actually good fun. So the first question is a discovery in 2020 for me. Now this band is probably one of the most well established bands ever on the face of the earth, but I knew nothing of them. I knew who they were and I could have named you a lot of their albums, but I'd never heard any. And it's actually Yes, and I bought my first couple of Yes albums this year. This is a compilation called Yesterdays, which is very good, and it's got a cover version of Paul Simon's America on it. The first one I actually bought was Close to Age, which is quite good as well. I don't know if I'll go any further. If I see some going cheap, I'll probably buy, but yeah, it's a new discovery for me. Question 2, a quarantine buy. God, I could do a 6-hour show on the amount I bought during quarantine, but I'll pick one, and it's Van Morrison's Blowing Your Mind album. This is the one with Brown Eyed Girl, Spanish Rose, Goodbye Baby, Baby Goodbye, Row Row Rosie, Midnight Special. I really do like this. They say this is not really a proper album and Astral Weeks is his first, but this is still really good. It's from the Bang years. An LP you want to find in 2021. So I'll show the CD here, and I would love to have this on vinyl, and it's Ambrose Slade Beginnings, and this is Slade's very first album. Even before they were called Slade, they were called Ambrose Slade. Yeah, this is still well, you can buy this on Discogs, but it's far too expensive. You're talking 3 figures, and they even reissued it about 5 or 6 years ago, and it's still 3 figures, so I would love a reissue of this, or a very cheap anything below 50 quid I would buy. Question 4, show a box set. So I'll show a Reader's Digest box set, and this is typically me. This is massive. This is the Sensational 70s, 10 LPs of hits spanning from 1970 to 1979. You get a lot of glam rock artists in this. You get some what you would call guilty pleasures like Brotherhood of Man. You have ABBA on this. You've got Blondies on this as well. 3 Degrees, T-Rex, Suzi Quatro. Really good box set. As I say, 10 albums. And I bought this a couple of years ago and it cost me a tenner, so well worth it. And the albums are in perfect condition. Okay, a concept album, and I'll go with the Kinks' Schoolboys in Disgrace, and this is all about school days, and it is very good. It's the last of their concept albums for RCA, and then they signed to Arista. An album where the artist changed his direction, and this here, Almost Blue by Elvis Costello, was the follow-up to his Trust album. His Trust album is like a new wave album. This is just pure country, and it's very good. Okay, he went back again, but slightly different. He actually developed his original sound for the next album, but this is very good. Show a white label promo. Well, I don't have any white label promo albums, so I'll show a single, and I'm not even too sure if this is a promo or a demonstration copy, and I really don't know the difference. And it is Simon and Garfunkel's Faking It on CBS. And the other side with the big A is You Don't Know Where Your Interest Lies. Okay, next up, a compilation album. So I'll show this here because I don't have any other of their albums, and it's Dedication, which by Thin Lizzy, which came out in the early 90s, and this has just got 14 songs, big hit singles like Whiskey in the Jar, Boys Are Back in Town, Jailbreak, Do Anything You Want to Do, Sarah, Pretty in What Ways. Good album, but I've never gone any further with Thin Lizzy. An album that tells a story, right? This is the one here. This is Sparks and Discreet. Now, I got into Sparks in the mid-80s when I bought Kimono My House for next to nothing in an indoor market. I went to college in Derry, and in 1989 I saw this. I've been looking for this for 3 years, couldn't find it anywhere. And I saw this in a record shop as I was walking towards the train station, and it was brand new. Well, I was obviously sitting there for 15 years because the shop was musty and old and had a bit of a smell about it, and there was 2 copies, and I thought yes. And it cost something like £3.99 then, and this is 1989. Anyway, I bought a copy and I went to the train station. I set the album down, got home, so like a 35-minute train drive. I lifted up the bag and I realised my mistake. I had left it right beside the heater. Now this wasn't warped, this was warped beyond oblivion. You could have turned it into a huge 1970s ashtray. I was not happy at all, but I was relieved with the fact that there was another copy. So whenever I went back to college on the Monday morning, the first place I went to was the record shop, and lo and behold, it sold the other copy. The 2 had been sitting for about 14 years and they sold to both of them within 2 days. I was devastated, and it took another couple of years before I managed to get a decent copy, but not brilliant, which is this, although this is the cover from the original one. So yeah, it's an okay copy, but still, that's my story. An album that needs to have a final pressing. Right, this is the one I would love on vinyl, and this is the Pretenders' Le Screw. It's not their best, it's probably their worst, but it's the only one that has never been released on vinyl, and I keep checking and it still hasn't had an issue on vinyl, so I would love that to be issued. Okay, a common and uncommon album. I'm going to use the same artist. Slade, Old New Board and Blue. You can find it in most places. You know, you get it for a £5 to a tenner. You won't have to pay more than a tenner for this because it's sold in huge amounts. And that came out in early '74, but 5 years later this was released, and this is Return to Base, and this is next to impossible to find, and you have to pay money for this, so very uncommon. This has had one CD release way back in the late 90s, and it's getting quite pricey as well. But whenever Salvo reissued the We'll Bring House Down album, which consists of most of these songs anyway, that's another story, they swept up the rest of them and put it on the CD. So that's Return to Base by Slade. An EP, and I will show this one, and this is the £1.10 or Less EP by Stiff Little Fingers, and the main track on this is Listen. Then you have That's When Your Heart Bumps, Sad Eyed People, A Two Guitars Clash, released in 1982. It's not brilliant, it's one of their worst singles actually, but it's an EP and it fits the question. A girl group. I didn't want to show Haim or the Bangles again or whatever, so Amazulu, mid-80s, 3 girls. Anne Marie's the singer. The other 2 are Sharon and Leslie. Great fun, big hit singles with Too Good to Be Forgotten and Excitable, and I think of the 10 tracks here, I think 8 of them are actually singles, so it's a good fun album. An album cover you love, and I've always loved this cover, and it's Status Quo, and it is Never Too Late. I really love the front cover with the Earth and what looks like the rocket ship in the big hand, and I also love the back cover as well, where the 4 guys are amongst the stars. So 1981 album, and it is pretty good too. An album you've listened to the most. Right, I don't want to talk about David Bowie or T-Rex or the Jim Reeves Christmas album. So I was thinking of which album would I go back to a lot, and no matter what sort of a mood I'm in, I will always enjoy it. And I'm giving it to the Police, Regatta de Blanc. You know, I never got fed up with this. I always enjoy it. Every play has always been as good as the last. So from 1979, with the 2 big hit singles, Message in a Bottle, Walking on the Moon, and the fantastic The Bed's Too Big Without You. Okay, number 16, an album you had to get an OG copy of, and it's T-Rex's Futuristic Dragon. I've owned this from about 1981-82 on the Areola German label. Hate the label. The only way I could get it though, so I took it. And once I got back into vinyl, I had to get an OG, so I finally got this at a reasonable price. And then the Areola one went over across the water to James Griffiths. So T-Rex Futuristic Dragon. The last album you purchased, and it only came through the door yesterday. I have this in CD, never had it in vinyl, and it's ABBA, Gracias por la Música, and it's the big hits in Spanish, really, and I think this is a Spanish release. So I'm turned yellow again here, so there we're better. So I haven't played it yet, although I know it from the CD, but it adds to the ABBA collection. An album they don't get. So basically this is an album I like and nobody else likes it, and it's one where the fans of this artist don't like it. It's always at the bottom of the list. I don't understand why. And it's George Harrison's Gone Trouble, and I think this is really good. It's in my top 3 George Harrison albums. I love Wake Up My Love. I love the synth on it. Everyone hates it. That's the Way It Goes is probably the most George Harrison-y George Harrison song, which is really, really good. But I think this is just great fun. I really love You's great. Gone Trouble's great. Mystical One's a lovely song. I don't understand why people don't like this. It wasn't a hit because it wasn't promoted, but this is far better than quite a lot of his albums. So from 1982, Gone Trouble. Show a Punk album and The Stranglers, No More Heroes. Decent, pretty good follow up to the brilliant Ratus Norvegicus. Both released in 1977. Has the hits No More Heroes and Something Better Change on it, and the brilliant song Bitchin'. Good album. And lastly, my favourite 2020 reissue, and this follows on from a video I did a couple of days ago, and I'm going to pick one of the two which is the best reissue, and it is the Bangles. It is Doll Revolution, and I'm so delighted to have this. I'm going Bangle mad at the moment, so Doll Revolution, best reissue of 2020. Okay, so that's my response to Andrew Tale of the Crates vinyl tag 2021. I hope you enjoyed that, and a happy new year everybody, and I hope to have another video quite soon. All the best now. Bye bye.